everyone, and welcome to today's show. I am really excited to share with you my next guest. She is called the Date Diva, and that she is. And she's written a wonderful book called The Date Diva, Stories from the Trenches. Yes, of dating, that would be. So please welcome to the show, Kristi DeWitt.
Thank you very much, Orgena. So glad to be here. Thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. And I absolutely love, love, love your work. It's absolutely hilarious, first of all. But it's your life story, right? Like, these are your stories.
Oh, Lord, yes. And others. Definitely. Well, I collected stories, not only my own, but from other people around the country, because apparently I'm not the only one who has dated.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience because it's, you know, a lot of people think they're the only one that goes through different things.
Right. Right.
And people who have read this book, it's very funny the reaction I've gotten. You know, single women say, "Oh my God, I'm not the only one."
Right.
Single guys read it and they go, "Oh yeah, the stories were funny." Did you read any of the tactics or the tips? You know, married people read it.
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, thank God I'm married."
See, right? They're not in the trenches anymore.
No, they're not. They're not.
Exactly. So now, again, for you, you also, you know, this is not just telling no fun stories. You're actually also giving tips and tools how not to stay in the trenches, how to get out of them. But you are a product of your own work. You've had success from your own work.
I am, oh my gosh. But you know, it's funny because I never, you and I spoke a while ago, I never was one to say, oh, I want the big church wedding. And I never really thought I even wanted to get married.
Yeah, like
really.
The Date Diva didn't want to get married. How cool is that?
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's called the gift of being a commitment phobe, right? So, I really think I'm grateful for that because it gave me the background and the information I needed to be able to build this book and to get these stories. So really, and the meat of it is the stories are the fun kind of frosting, but the heart of the book are the tactics, and the tactics work. Yeah. They have all been field tested. Trust me on that one. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And again, you are your own product of showing that these are proven tactics. These things actually work, but not only for yourself because you're now married happily, but many people that you work with, right? Because you coach and you work with women and men. And
I do, and you know, I'm very proud to say that not only have I had now 9 engagemps, 8 weddings because of the tactics, but now 2 babies on the way. Not me. Not me.
That's another.
But that's another book somewhere down the line, possibly. So it's really satisfying and gratifying to see that people who are using these tactics, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, I never would have found him or her if I had not done the things in the book. You know, some people would have discounted a certain type of person before, but when they sat down and used some of the techniques, new things kind of bubbled to the surface, and it completely changed their world. It's not me doing it; it's them doing it. It's just giving them the tools,
to
be able to do it.
Do the work, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be such work. It just has to be being conscious or aware or mindful of things.
Right. So, and as I say, there's a big part of this book where I called the list. And making the list out. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, I didn't know what I want. It's in my head. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
But it needs to get...
Let's write it down because it's kind of like, okay, if you are really hungry and you go to the grocery store and you don't have a list, what are you going to end up buying, right?
A lot of stuff you don't really want or need.
No, yeah.
And everything but sometimes.
Yeah, you might still get full, but it's not good for you usually, and you missed out on a lot of the aspects that you really wanted. This is really your kind of grocery list for a relationship is really what it's like.
It's like your shopping list for a relationship.
Right.
I like that.
Right, exactly.
Like that. Okay, and so that's like one of the first things you do is talk about creating your list.
Exactly. Well, and you know, really the base of it is really understanding who you really are and why you want to date. So that's another one of the things I work with my clients on. I say, you know, maybe they've gotten relationship after relationship and it's crashed every time and they don't understand why. And so we kind of back it up and I say, well, first of all, what are you really looking for? What is your end game in dating?
Right.
And everybody says, well, that's simple. I'm like, not necessarily.
No.
So when they step back, sometimes some of them say, well, I'm just dating for fun. I'm like, that's great. Then you're not going to get a serious relationship possibly that's going to continue. If you're just dating for fun, fabulous. But if you're dating to find a relationship, then let's get you on the right path.
Right. Right.
And
then you'll find and connect with those people who are also wanting the same things.
Exactly. So you start putting that out there and you start attracting back what you're putting out. Get a little more focused.
Yeah, I think that clarity piece is probably really huge.
Huge.
And overlooked quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the shopping analogy because I think we all can, really identify with just running to the store. I mean, I know I've done it myself, truly. I'm like, oh, yeah, I wanted to get this, and it's in my head, and I know what I want, but I get there, and I'm in there, and, oh, look at that. Oh, that's kind of nice.
Shiny objects.
Oh.
Shiny objects.
And then I get back home, and I'm like, oh, I forgot the very thing. I mean, I know I'm not the only one. I know.
I know. Well, one of the big things on the list, be sure to put, is that the other person is single. That's really important.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I've seen that go awry before.
Yeah.
I said, did you put single?
Oh, yeah. That's the key phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I like that we're already touching in on a really key piece of being really super clear within yourself first of what you're wanting, and then that's going to certainly help.
Right.
For others.
Right.
So when we come back, I want to get a little bit more into some of those stories, but some of the successes that you've had, and some of how you came to do this work, like why did you write the book and things like that. So
wonderful.
When we come back, we'll find out more from Kristi DeWitt.
This episode was sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. soulpurposebranding.com.
And we're back with Kristi DeWitt, the Date Diva, who is sharing her stories from the dating trenches, right? So you've been in the trenches, obviously. How many frogs have you kissed?
My mother's probably going to see this, so I'm not going to say. Quite a few. I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, where it's 10 men to every woman. So that gave me a lot of practice.
That's quite opposite as to how it is in the rest of the United States.
Yes.
And perhaps even in other countries, right? So
yes.
You got lucky in that way.
I did. Well,
sort of.
And some of the best yet worst advice I think I ever got for somebody who turns out to be a commitment phobe is, it's actually good, is everyone you date gets you closer to what you truly want.
That's nice.
And that's why I encourage young people, don't get married before you're 30. Date around, be responsible, but date around and don't be so quick to jump into a relationship. Yeah. Have fun, be young, have your experiences.
Right.
And then when you're a little older, that may be more appropriate time because you don't know who you are.
Yeah, you're still learning who you are. Even though I know for myself, you couldn't have told me I didn't know who I was when I was 20 or 25. I already knew. So
you don't know what you don't know.
Wait. Well, that's what it is. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So now so that's for the young ones. So what about your kind of, mid-range,
more mature daters?
More mature daters.
Well, it's funny because, when I wrote the book, I thought, oh, my audience is going to be, 20 to 45. My real audience, who realizes they don't know what they don't know until they don't know it, is really about 35 to 45, 50.
Yeah, wow.
Because they've developed these dating habits and don't realize that they're habits and don't know how to get out of them. So there's a lot of self-limiting beliefs that there are no single men out there. There are no single women. There are no good single women that are left.
I'm too old.
I'm too exactly.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Hey, I found a guy that was 38 with no kids. Hallelujah! He's good looking.
He is. He's a cutie pie. So,
he was my list. There's a lot more to him than that. There's a lot more to him than that.
Of course.
But it's funny because I wrote that list, and then literally about 4 years after dating him, I found the list when I was writing the book, and I went. I said, "Oh my gosh! Here he is. He's on paper. It's like I ordered him from a catalog."
Because you did.
Yeah.
Because you did. That's
exactly. Exactly. It's that easy. Ding.
So you've gone through the trenches. You've had wonderful success, obviously, with your own tools. And what about some of the other folks that you've worked with?
So I'll just give you an example of one of the recent weddings that has gone on. A gal who ended up being a good friend of mine just through our networking and meeting, I given her the list or the book, and I said, hey, listen, I'm going to give you this book. Check it out.
Yes.
Tell me what you think. And she said, I'm going to try this list thing. I'm like, great. Let's give it a shot.
Yes.
So she made a list. And what's funny is, beautiful, smart gal.
Yes.
She dated a lot of men who were beautifully packaged, but nothing here or here, really.
Yes.
Never seemed to really work out. So she made this list. Lo and behold, the guy that lived downstairs from her,
Really?
get out,
Oh,
I know.
That's cute.
The guy that lives
that's cute.
downstairs, she said, Kristi, I never would have picked him out. He's a good-looking guy, he's a nice guy, but just the qualities that he had, she really kind of looked in a little bit more, and he was the list. Now, she wasn't checking it off.
Right. Yeah, we're not going around like, let's see. Do you
No.
have- check, okay.
No, there's a
Right.
certain way to deploy the list.
Ooh, deployment.
Deploy the list. But she and her now husband got married the week before my husband and I got married, and they're expecting their first baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what did you say, 9? I love this.
9 engagements, 8 weddings, and 2 babies.
And a partridge in a
And a
pear
pear tree.
No, I love that. So, okay, so what can you share with our audience today? Because, okay, so we get making a list, but is
Right.
it really just like that? Just make a list?
There's a certain way to do it.
Yeah.
And gee, coincidentally, it's in my book. Shocker, I know. But there is a certain way to do it. Now, back in the 60s, they used to call us the power of positive thinking. Now this developed into affirmation. So it's
Right.
almost like a relationship affirmation in a way, but a list.
Okay.
So it's definitely, there's a technique to it.
Sure.
You want to make that list in the present and positive and active. So instead of he will be or she will be, he is.
Yeah, and not I want and I want.
Right.
Because then you just will keep wanting.
I actually made a mistake like that once and
Yes.
ended up something that I did not want. That's in the book, actually.
See? Good. Okay. Beautiful. And so you're going to share with our folks today something that we can implement right away. Yeah.
I think really one of the most powerful tools I can give besides the list
Sure.
is ask yourself, and this sounds like the silliest question, but just sit there and don't think about it, but immediately answer the question, why am I dating?
Okay.
And once you answer that question,
Yeah.
then it may become more clear to you why things have or have not gone the way you wanted it to.
Yes.
And then the next question is, out of my past relationships, what is the one common factor?
Oh.
It's usually you.
So besides the person.
So besides the person, but it's usually you. And then what are the habits, what are the commonalities in the people that you've dated?
Yes.
And start listing out some of the qualities so you can see, all right, I tend to attract people that A, B, or C. So then start to do some self-programming. And I work with several clients on this, and
Yes.
I date coach.
Yes.
And we work on methods to deprogram that and replace it with
Yeah.
positive messages. So, if I hear somebody say, I always this and I always attract this, and I'm like, all right, I know where we're starting
Right.
and how we can flip that around.
Okay.
And sometimes
nice.
the smallest little tweak
Just a little one.
can
Yeah.
fix it. You know, it's like a wheel on the car is just off a little bit, and you
Yeah.
keep going to the right. Well, let's get you realigned.
Get your alignment.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know so much about cars. Right.
But that's beautiful though, because it can be sometimes that simple little shift.
It really can be.
Beautiful.
It really can be.
Yeah. So this does, and it could be fun. This is what I have to say
Yes.
about your book that I love. It's hilarious, and I mean hilarious is what I say.
Thank
It
you.
really is. I mean, you're a hoot, and the stories are phenomenal, and I think we all can see ourselves in so many of those situations. But you also show them the way out, like how to do it differently, and make some shifts right away.
Exactly. And, and there's a lot of recycling of relationships sometimes, so I
Yes.
address that as well. It's kind of like
Ooh.
reheating Chinese food. It sounds like a good idea. Not so much when you microwave
Not
it.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Don't
Yeah.
recycle.
Yeah, no.
In this case, no.
All right, and I think that's a huge one. I remember that was actually one of my mother's biggest pieces of advice is don't keep going back. Don't, because many of those things, and it's not to say we don't all grow and shift and change, but many of those things that were present that made you want to leave in the first place are still there. And it's not about trying to change anybody else, right?
Right, and you're going back to a situation, and essentially there's the same issues are brewing underneath.
They're still there. They're still present, and so you're just going to be recycling. So I really like that.
Exactly.
That's great. Try something new. Do something new to get a new result. Right?
Beautiful.
What's that saying, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So do something new for a different result.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Well put.
Thank you. So with that, we'll come back and we'll just get some last thoughts from you, and also how people can really connect with you. And you also have a great little surprise for folks, right? So
I do.
All right, so come on back.
This episode was sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. soulpurposebranding.com.
So we're here with Kristi DeWitt, who is sharing her stories from the dating trenches, helping us to do new things to get a new result and a wonderful relationship. Yes?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So what are you going to share with us today with our audience that can help people start really doing that?
Really getting
you
up.
talked about the list, which is great. And that question, I think, is phenomenal, because I think having the clarity is instantaneously huge. Because many times there are lots of people who we do this societal thing that, oh, you should want this, or this is what your relationship is supposed to look like. And so they spend all of this time and energy trying to do that. And it's like, that's not what they actually really want. Maybe they want something that's very different than what they're seeing. And to honor that, right?
Right, and and I'm really glad you brought that up, because, by the way, it's okay to be single. Just newsflash, it's okay to be single. And I think when some people realize that, it just kind of takes the pressure off.
Well, it's actually more than okay. It's actually a beautiful thing for some folks. I mean, that's exactly what they want. They actually don't want to be in a long-term relationship. And okay, just know that. And I think then too, that'll help your choices. And communicating that, right?
Right, and it's more. You could be honest with yourself. Then it's more fair to others around you as well.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about how to do a change in your dating life.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
Online dating. Bam. Bam. It is the best place to practice on people. And you pay a small fee. You're practicing. It's great.
Not bad at all.
So you can hone your techniques
online. Now,
don't tell them though.
And years ago, there was such a stigma around doing that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it's not that way today. We recognize technology is super helpful in this way to connect with lots of people who you might not otherwise do so.
Well, and I help my clients with other ways of meeting people, but that is the quickest, most expedient mass exposure. So fish with a fish are, right?
Yes.
So, but also there's smart ways to do online dating.
Yes, yeah.
And I read about these people that are on there for months, years with people and never meet. There's a reason for that. Do not do that. So I do talk with my clients about how to expedite that process.
Well, and you're very clear. Like there's do this and then this and then this and
yes.
And there's real strong reasons why, powerful reasons why.
It's the most expedient path to the quickest result. So you get in, get out. Okay, disqualify. It's like a sales technique, really. When you're selling something as a salesperson, you go in. Is this person my target market? Aren't they my target market? Say hello, be nice, and move on.
And flip side, shopper. So if you're the shopper, if you're going to the grocery store, you don't like this brand, then you're going to go check out the next brand beside it. You're not going to be, well, maybe I like this brand. Well, if I really try and make myself, I'm going to like that brand,
I have done that. I've tried that brand.
Who hasn't, right? Right?
I've done experiments like that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to really like this. I'm going to make myself like that brand.
It doesn't work.
No, not so much. Just move along to the brand you like. Yeah? Okay. And I think those are really, really powerful, what you have for that, for online dating, because more people are doing it, and they're having better results because, we're releasing the stigma around it, but with your help, there's ways to really do that well.
Yes.
Like not talk for years.
Yes.
And like fall madly in love and you've never seen the person.
No.
Yeah, right?
Definitely there's a formula to it.
Okay.
And also with bios.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
You got to be careful with those. And if somebody is not really, they don't feel they're fluent in writing their bio,
Yes.
here's a tip. Look at other people's bios.
Yeah.
Find one you like and mirror it. I mean, it's got to be about you, obviously.
Sure. Yeah,
but
don't copy and paste.
No. No, but mirror that. And a really important thing, too, is to have a good header on your bio, a good photo. You need a
Yes.
headshot, 3/4 and a full length. So everybody knows.
Yes.
Somebody says, oh, I'm athletic and thin. Their idea and your idea may
thin.
not be the
Yeah.
same idea.
Yeah.
So at least one of you can be honest,
Yeah.
by the way, because there's a lot of deception online. So
Absolutely.
that's why the process that I put my clients through really works.
Yeah, and helps to weed out quickly.
Yes.
Good. And then
Yes.
once you meet someone and connect, how to really sustain that through into a true relationship.
Correct.
Beautiful.
Correct. You got to keep that limited commodity
Ooh, ding, ding, ding. Okay.
precious, and there's ways to do that too.
I love that. I really love that. I think that's powerful. That's a good one. Okay, and so you're sharing with our folks today.
I am going to be sharing a chapter out of my book as a download, and so that'll be on my website, which is thedatediva.com.
Yay.
That'll be on there, and I'm actually offering another teleseminar on the phone.
Yes.
So you can be anywhere in the country.
Yes,
I'll be
world.
announcing that as well, and I'm on Facebook
Yes.
as the Date Diva group.
Beautiful.
And there's also so many ways to get a hold of me. Stories from the datingtrenches.com. That's on there too. But the group is a little more exclusive, so you have to be invited in to be in the group. But this is really for singles who want to have fun, but seriously are looking for a long-term relationship.
Beautiful.
Whether that's somebody who is heterosexual, gay, lesbian, anybody who can fit into these categories. I mean,
Yes.
everybody needs love.
Everybody's loving.
Everyone's looking for it.
Everybody's looking for love. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And deserves to be loved.
Oh,
And so that's a
exactly.
beautiful thing. And of course, we'll have all of the links to your work and things like that on the site. So right here at OrgenaRoseShow.com, just look right near the interview. And I hope everyone who is looking for a long-term relationship truly connects with you, because you're just phenomenal and
Aw,
so fun
you.
too. So you make it fun. I think that's the biggest piece. A lot of people are afraid. So you make it fun, you make it joyful, and it works. I mean, 9.
Apparently it does.
Apparently. So thank you so much, Kristi, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely a blast always.
Thank
so
you.
We'll have to touch in again and hear back from some of the folks that you've been working with.
Wonderful.
And see how people are doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any final thoughts for our folks?
You know, all you need is love.
Because
There you
it's
go.
all about love. There it is. I love it. Thank you so much. And thank all of you for being with us today. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us today on our show. I really hope that there was something shared that really helps you shine your biggest and brightest light. Please stop by again, like us on Facebook, tweet us, all of those good things. And most importantly, please always remember, it's all about love.